During the 22 years of Haitian rule over the eastern part of the island, the daily life of Dominicans was significantly impacted. Let's travel back in time to understand how Dominicans lived under Haitian rule and the challenges they faced, knowing that from day one, the main goal of the Haitian president was to unify both peoples. This is evident in his directive from February 11, 1822, where he stated that the Republic's goal was for the people of the eastern part to change their habits and customs as quickly as possible to adopt those of the Republic of Haiti, so that the merger would be perfect and the differences that existed would disappear. Let's begin. Life in the countryside was the most affected. President Boyer made life difficult for the farmers. Boyer saw agriculture as the main source of income for the state, so in July 1824, he issued a law aiming to turn every rural inhabitant into a farmer who owned the land they occupied and was required to cultivate cocoa, sugarcane, and cotton. However, the farmers did not like this idea at all because they were already used to other jobs that gave them better income, such as cutting mahogany in the south, planting tobacco in the Chibao, and raising livestock in the east. Therefore, they ignored Boyer and continued doing what they had always done. This greatly angered Boyer, and in response, he prohibited the farmers in the south from cutting mahogany without government permission. He also allowed farmers to kill any animals that damaged their crops, which caused constant problems between ranchers and farmers. Despite all this, the farmers continued their activities and never got involved in the crops that interested the Haitian government. As Boyer realized that they were not obeying him, he presented to Congress 202 laws known as the Rural Code, aiming to force these farmers to work the land, and anyone who refused would be punished. According to the code, no one who was not a government official or had a recognized profession could stop working the land or leave their place of residence without prior authorization from local authorities. This limited their freedom of movement and tied them to the plantations where they were employed. No worker could leave the countryside to engage in commerce under any circumstances, nor could they build a house and move their family away from the plantation where they worked. This last rule was so strict that even if the plantation owner allowed it, a worker could not be away from it for more than 8 days. Moreover, once a farmer started working for a plantation owner, they had to stay with them for at least 3 years. If they tried to leave before that, they faced fines, imprisonment, or forced labor. During the week, from Monday morning to Friday night, dances and parties were not allowed so that they could concentrate on their work. Additionally, the army assigned soldiers to each plantation to closely monitor the workers and ensure compliance with the code. It was total control over the farmers, even requiring women to work, with pregnant women working until the 4th month of pregnancy and starting again 4 months after giving birth. It also limited the education of the workers' children, who could not leave their parents' plots to attend school without permission from local authorities, hindering their access to education and limiting their future opportunities. Furthermore, the code prohibited farmers from selling their products among themselves. They were only allowed to produce for export. At that time, Haiti had a debt of about 150 million francs to France as a condition for being recognized as an independent country and to stop being attacked by France. The agricultural products exported helped pay this debt, so Dominicans were practically forced to work to pay off a debt that was not theirs. The agreement with France clearly stated that this debt was the responsibility of the western part of the island, meaning the Haitians. Obviously, this law was difficult to enforce because even the Haitians themselves refused to comply, and the Dominicans had never experienced such forced labor. The measures were so severe that not even the soldiers assigned to guard the plantations obeyed Boyer. This was because, feeling relieved from not having to be ready for war with France, the soldiers quickly relaxed their military discipline and focused more on their personal matters, small properties, families, and interests, instead of acting as police in the fields. Thus, Boyer realized there was no way to force the farmers to work. All young men between 16 and 25 years old lost the opportunity to study at the university, since in December 1823, Boyer ordered them to be recruited into the army. Among those recruited was our patriot Juan Pablo Duarte. This had a devastating impact on education, as the Santo Tomás de Aquino University was forced to close its doors after losing its students. At the time of closure, the university had 46 enrolled students, almost half of whom were foreigners, including Puerto Ricans, Cubans, and Venezuelans. Secondary education also suffered, as with the university closed, the Petillon High School became the only secondary school on the entire island for a long time, with 40 students and 4 teachers, located in Port-au-Prince. The Catholic Church from the beginning showed a refusal to cooperate with the Haitian authorities. When President Boyer arrived in Santo Domingo, he ordered the confiscation of all Catholic Church properties, which became state property. They also confiscated the properties of Dominicans absent from the island who fled in 1821 and 1822 to avoid the blows of the new authorities. All those properties confiscated by the Haitians were sold at extremely low prices. Houses valued between 4,000 to 12,000 pesos were sold for 200 to 300 pesos. Those that did not sell were distributed among the military and Haitian elites. Besides property confiscation, the Haitian president also prohibited tithing and suspended the payment of church salaries. The tensions between Boyer and the church were so strong that the Archbishop of Santo Domingo tried to seek support in Cuba to raise the eastern part and separate it from the Haitians, but was discovered and had to flee the island. Another measure not well received by Dominicans was the imposition of French as the mandatory official language for all civil and judicial acts. To help those who did not speak French, interpreters were appointed in all government offices. This was made official on November 14, 1824, with a directive from Boyer prohibiting the use of Spanish in public documents. To help magistrates who did not know French, from 1840 onwards, secretaries of the Haitian judicial courts who dominated the language were appointed. Despite these efforts, not much was achieved as many hearings continued to be conducted in Spanish. Primary education was attempted to be carried out in French. In 1830, Boyer issued a resolution prohibiting cockfighting and ordering the closure of all cockpits. Cockfighting was only allowed on Sundays and holidays. This was a major blow as it was the main means of entertainment for Dominicans. In addition to these problems, censorship was imposed. Núñez de Cáceres, in a letter dated August 6, 1822, stated that the Haitian government in Santo Domingo meticulously reviewed all printed or handwritten papers, letters, and any type of correspondence, regardless of its origin. They seized everything, read it, and decided whether to deliver it based on their interests. This review started when the ship arrived at the port, threatening captains, crew, and passengers with punishment if they concealed anything. The Hispanic sentiment remained very present among the inhabitants of the East. Despite this, Boyer did not give up on his attempt to unify the island, and in June 1830, he ordered that all Spanish coats of arms and symbols in public places, churches, and convents be replaced by those of the Republic of Haiti. Some place names were even changed. For example, what is now known as Ciudad Nueva in the Dominican capital was called Sabana del Rey. The Haitians changed this name to Sabana del Estado, and it remained so until population growth transformed that area into an urban extension of the capital, which was previously a space for raising animals. In Samaná, an unusual phenomenon occurs where a large part of the population has English origin surnames. This phenomenon dates back to the Haitian occupation period. In 1823, an African-American pastor visited Haiti to evaluate the possibility of freed blacks from the United States settling there to enjoy rights they did not have in their country. With Boyer's support, thousands of African-American families arrived in Santo Domingo and Samaná the following year, where they were offered land, tools, and Haitian citizenship. Many of these families returned to their country, and those who stayed mostly opted to remain in Samaná to stay away from Haitian authorities. During Dominican independence, they embraced the Dominican cause, and many shed their blood in defense of our homeland. Another custom Dominicans acquired from the Haitians was the practice of imprisoning someone for debt. Before the Haitian occupation, it was not customary to imprison someone for debts in Santo Domingo because Spanish laws were very strict in this regard, and the procedure was so long and tedious that people did not even attempt it. However, in France, it was common to easily imprison debtors to pressure them to pay. During the Haitian occupation, many French laws that worked in Haiti were implemented in Santo Domingo, including imprisonment for debts. As a result, many ended up in jail for debts. These laws allowed people to force debtors to pay under threat of imprisonment, and they could even sign agreements committing to being imprisoned if they did not pay. This especially applied to commercial matters. In 1843, after Boyer's fall, imprisonment for debts was abolished in civil matters but remained for commercial businesses. These measures persisted for several years, but ceased to be applied at the end of the 19th century and stopped being part of Dominican customs.